Greetings, Algo artisans. We're going to take a look at Gala today. Is it going to come back? We're going to look at some old predictions that I made as well and see how good those were. We're going to jump into the charts right now.
It seemed to cut my learning curve.
Okay, so here's the chart for Gala. Gala is a gaming token. There are NFTs. There's just cross-ecosystem usage of the token. Very interesting project. We'll take a look at the website in just a moment, but looking at the chart right now at the daily, we can see that I made some predictions going back to the beginning of March, so roughly a month ago. Looks like it pretty much followed what I said it was going to do, more or less, although my timeline was a little off. It happened quicker than I thought, because instead of heading down to this line and bouncing when I said it would, it actually did it after that. And then it made its way down to where I thought it would go lower as well. So it looks like my predictions are pretty good, but let's erase those for now. Let's take a look at what we think will happen in the future. So if we take a look back, we can see where a lot of price action occurred. And we can see where this consolidation might make for a nice area of volume. The impulse is going to go from the bottom to the top, starting back on the 4th of February. I just want to see where the volume is. I can almost guarantee you it's going to be probably towards the lower middle of this box. Okay, here we are with the fixed range. And like I said, we're looking at a price 2.4 cents. Now, is it going to go down there? Maybe not. It does seem like there's plenty of other volume nodes. There were plenty of liquidity areas right here in the 3-cent range, not 30, but 3 cents, and it did dip in and grab that. A lot of money is just going to stay still until Bitcoin makes a decision up or down. If Bitcoin heads down, then there's a good chance that Gala will actually head down and grab that 2.4 cent range, anywhere in this kind of area where you can see this large volume node. So that's 2.4 cents. I think that's a reasonable downside look, right? Now, if this is ready to head back up, and let's just say that this was the bottom right here at about 3 cents, then the way I would take a look at this might be doing a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom. So retracing this impulse down. I'm going to outline it so you can see it from the top to the bottom, this strong move. How high might it go in the short term? If we measure that impulse and we apply a Fibonacci retracement to it, then the 618 is where I like to start, but I want to look at the volume. I want to look at the price action too. Now the 618 would be right here at 5.38 cents, 5.4 cents, and that's pretty close. And it actually makes a lot of sense because you have a fair amount of liquidity just above that to which price will be attracted. So realistically, price is going to want to go and grab that liquidity. Now, if the market is bullish, then price might head up and grab that liquidity and stay up, or maybe even go past that, maybe bounce around. The rest of the market, and Bitcoin in particular, is going to determine which way price will go. But for the moment, it does appear to be somewhat attracted to that liquidity. In the meantime, this could just range here and head down again. That's all going to depend on Bitcoin itself, and Bitcoin is in a bit of a holding pattern right now. We'll even take a look at that briefly before we get into Gala and what it is and some of the news on Gala. However, I would be willing to see the actual price right about here, right about 5.6 cents. That's a pretty good target. Even though it's past the 618, there's a lot of volume in that area. So I would probably take profit before that. And again, right at that 618. And I'm not, but if I were to take a long right now, that would look like this. So a target right there at about safely just before this low. So safely a target at about 5.3 cents. My stop loss, I would want to see this range break out before I took this trade, or the other option would be to take the trade at the bottom of that range as long as I were confident the price was going to make its way up. So the two choices I would have would be maybe something like this, a breakout, possible quick retest, and then a move up. And if that were the case, my entry would look something like this, with a stop loss below that little pullback and into this area where there is some protection. That's one option for that trade. Again, I would wait until the algorithms said that I could take that trade, but that is how I would do it. The other option might be if this rotates back down to the bottom of this range, but I'm confident that is going to head back up, or at least I want to take that risk, then this would be basically the plan with the same target area, and I'd look for that bounce. Again, look for the algos to give me the signal, enter something like this, and then my take profit would be, again, right at, say, 5.3 cents below this low up there. And that's a nice 3.5 to 1. So what is Gala? Let's get into it. Here's some news on Gala. This actually came out just a few minutes ago. Gala price hints at a 43% recovery as whale accumulation increases. So somebody's watching the blockchain, and it looks like there is a whale accumulating. It says here, Gala price fell victim to the broader market cues after the altcoin corrected by nearly 28% in the span of 48 hours. However, this did not discourage Gala holders. Instead, it acted as a bullish trigger for a certain cohort, the whales. These large wallet holders moved to accumulate more Gala in the moments of the decline instead of selling. The addresses holding between 1 million and 10 million worth of Gala added 160 million in Gala to bring their total holdings to 504 million. Let's take a look back at the chart. I would imagine they accumulated it down here, right around this 3-cent range. They may have looked at some of the structure back here, liquidity, things like that, and they might have also looked at this low that I'm about to point out here. So if I zoom in, you can see that the wick came down, and that wick, and there was one right before it as well, might have been looking at this structure shelf on the way up. So that structure shelf being at the top of this move up, right? So as price wicked down, that might have been the signal as well, and the whales might have just had enough information about where to pick it up. So that's where the whales probably accumulated. But let's take a little bit look more at the token itself so we can just get a feel for it, and then we'll take a look at Bitcoin after that. So here's their website, a nice looking website. You have experiences built around the joy of community and ownership, games, music, discover artists you can play for free, there's film. So this is a multimedia solution, and a lot of the items, especially in gaming, those items are going to be sold as NFTs. So let's just say you have like a character skin, and that would be sold and bought as an NFT. You can trade those. Plenty of information about, you got team, you got news. So the website's just a typical website, but I do like the fact that it's more than just games. Music, film, it's got a multimedia. Quick look at the tokenomics. Now, gaming is a massive multi-billion-dollar industry. As far as the size of this token, right now, the market cap is at $1 billion. Now, of course, this is widely speculation, although it does seem that they do have some items that are actually in play, so it's not complete speculation. But I'd venture to guess that if Gala does get the adoption that people see coming, then this really could be just a much bigger number. Yeah, I think a times 10 is very reasonable. It's a 50-cent coin. If it truly is truly adopted, it could go way higher than that. But I think just by virtue of bull market, a times 10 is reasonable. Given the size of the gaming industry, that would make a lot of sense because you have a circulating supply of 38 billion and a max supply of 50 billion. Okay, so I Googled, or brave searched, what is the total worth of the computer gaming industry? 347 billion in 2024. That doesn't count film, doesn't count music. And so let's just say that this business captures just maybe 5% of that entire industry, right? Not counting film, not counting music. Well, at a max supply of $50 billion, that's about 25 cents per coin. Okay, so that's a times 5 from the current price. And this is very rough math, and it's only considering the gaming industry. So a times 5 is pretty reasonable, bull market or not. Bull market might multiply that by a few. So gaming tokens, I do believe, are very strong and an increased use case very easily, especially with NFTs. So I do think this is a pretty good token. And what we want to do is overlay Bitcoin just very briefly to see how Gala is reacting to Bitcoin's volatility. So we can see that Gala is actually following pretty closely. It's not on the same percent scale, so this is just basically a look at up and down moves. But if Bitcoin were to go up from here, then there's a really good chance that Gala would head up and follow that. Now, we talked about what Bitcoin might do as to whether or not it's going to head down and grab some liquidity or go up. I'm about 50-50. Check out this morning's show with regard to those details. But if Bitcoin does move up, and I think it will eventually, I do think this trade is a pretty good trade if you're just looking to, find a way to take a quick trade. And if it breaks out from here, of course, the trade above this consolidation might be the way to go. So either way, I hope this was helpful. I do think this is a pretty good project. I know it's very popular and it does get a fair amount of news. That article does look at a 40 some odd % increase. So that would take this up to roughly 60 cents, and that is all the way up to here. So that's basically the number that news article was talking about. I hope this is helpful. Please come over to algofactory.tech. We teach people how to build algorithms, and they can use these algorithms, if they are successful, to pull money out of the market. They can extract profits out of the market. Depending on how they design it, they can do daily, weekly, monthly, or at least on that kind of frequency. Either way, please come on over, check us out. www.algofactory.tech. Don't forget, trade your job, upgrade your life. We'll see you on the next one.